Hey, you guys. So, this is Thoughts with Queen T, and my thought or topic for today is assumptions. And what made me think of this topic is, earlier in the month, I read an article talking about Tyler James Williams' Instagram story response in regards to his sexuality. A lot of people were speculating if he was part of the LGBTQ plus community. And, I thought, this article, one, his response I thought was very good. He wasn't sitting there trying to shame anybody or anything. It's just, hey, this is a very big conversation. It's deeper than just this, like what I'm giving you. It's very big, and it can also be dangerous in a lot of senses, in a lot of cases. And I will also put the article in the description below in case you want to read it. But essentially, like I said, people were speculating his sexuality, and essentially what he said is, he addressed his sexuality, and he said this can be very dangerous because if people are trying to pinpoint a characteristic or something about you that maybe they feel, oh, do you belong within a certain community? It can hurt people, and it can hurt, I think, in two different realms. So, in one realm, if you are somebody who is, kind of anxious about coming out and you don't know, hey, is this the right time for me? Is it safe? Like you just don't know, and you have just a lot of anxiety about coming out, and people are speculating and trying to figure out and find this characteristic about you that, oh, there's something about you that just quite isn't right. Like, I think maybe you belong within, this community. That's going to make them feel even more anxious, and it's going to make them feel like something's wrong with them, like they're already, I wouldn't say outing themselves, but it's almost, I would say, putting a target on them. And that's not something that they want, because again, it may not be the time for them. But you also have this other realm, which I think a lot of men in and of themselves face, where there are sometimes, if men feel like they can't have this individuality, this freedom to kind of wear what they want, style the way they want to, um, kind of maybe feel a little bit more, where it's breaking away from that traditional mold of what a man is. And people are now speculating, oh, are you part of the LGBTQ community? Not like something's wrong with that, but now you're going to have some men may not care, honestly, because some are, I think, very confident in them themselves, but others are going to be like, oh no, like, am I not am I not manly enough? Like, do I need to change something to kind of give off more of this aura that, you know, I am man enough, you know? So they feel like they have to change in some way, shape, or form, whether it is going back to that kind of traditional manly sense of, maybe not having that individuality and not expressing themselves as much as they were before. And so it can be damaging in so many different senses. And I don't even think in the sense of just men either. This can also span over into women and just people in general, because once you get into, like if you want to, get into the span of a woman, some women have short hair. There's definitely, assumptions where short hair, are you part of the LGBTQ community? Depending on what you dress or how you dress, is it feminine enough? Is it not feminine enough? Is it like what tattoos do you have, piercings, hair color? Sometimes it almost feels, it can be damaging on both senses, but it can also feel, in some cases, there's almost more criticisms in some ways, just in general, when it comes to just not even this community, but I see this particular trait. What can I see? What's different? Can I spot it? And sometimes with these assumptions, I think from a young age, we have been, I wouldn't say told, but just conditioned to, we spot these patterns, we observe things, and if we observe it enough, continually see this pattern, we think, oh, I figured it out, I know. And as we grow up, as I always say, things change because time changes, but that does not mean it's always the same. The pattern can change. So as much as we want to think this pattern can continuously go on, with time, it may not be the same. So we may have this notion that, I have this assumption because somebody wears this or acts this way, they're within this community. It may not be that way anymore. We're trying to break things and just try to be more ourselves. And so we're trying to break away from some of these norms that are not what they used to be. Whether like I said, we're just trying to be more individualistic and have more freedom, or we're just more expressive. And so that's where, just with this topic of assumptions, not even just basing it on this community, saying, hey, let's find, talking about characteristics in general, you can almost base it on entirely on everyone. Where are we basing a lot of our assumptions, observations and patterns on people that we meet and putting them into groups, different groups, because that's just what we're used to and that's what we're preconditioned since we were very young. And I think, as kind of the article states, it is a very big conversation. It's not just, here or here. It is just human nature in and of itself. It's something that I think as time goes on, I wouldn't say we have to work on, but it is. It's something that we kind of have to almost train ourselves to, not, I wouldn't say point these things out, but it's fine to observe. It's fine to, make some assumptions here and there. But what are you doing with those assumptions, I guess? Like, how are you going about doing it? Because sometimes it can go to the extreme. And so that is what I think, with this article and this topic of conversation is, it's not saying you can't make assumptions. It's just, when it comes to these speculations, observing so much and trying to figure out where do you belong, it can sometimes be very damaging because then you're not getting to know the whole situation at hand. So that's my topic for today. Let me know if you have any additional thoughts on this, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.